Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reed. What do you want?
Booth Digby looks at you with love-struck eyes. Tell me, Edwina, is the feeling mutual?
You have no idea how refreshing it can be for a woman to receive all the pleasure she needs. For once.
I'll take your word for it.
What is it, Doctor? A woman's not supposed to talk about these things.
I'm not that easily shocked, Miss Cox. You can speak freely about your lover, if you so wish.
The poor bastard is good to me, if you must know. He makes me feel good. And that's a first.
So you're just like any other couple, after all, are you not?
Yeah, we're so ordinary that I'd put a bullet in his head if he ever cheated on me.
Sticht er Edwina verdächtigt Bufbig der Untreue, als ob.
Goodbye, Miss Cox.
Ach, sie ist die Mutter von dem anderen Cox. Bin so verwirrt. Das Krankenhaus kann ich einfach am Dock lang laufen und dann eine Abkürzung freimachen, das wäre schön. Dann würde ich sagen, wir können Feierabend machen. Ah, hier habe ich schon alles gelootet gehabt. Da habe ich herausgefunden, dass da einer aufhören will bei der Gang. Komm schon.
It's locked up.
Nächstes Mal muss ich hier aufmachen. Ich muss mir eine Markierung setzen.
Right.
Erinnere ich mich vielleicht daran. Ich weiß nicht, ob ich hier rüberlaufen kann. Ich glaube, es ist eine Sackgasse. Bin mir da nicht sicher. Wie ich sonst hierher gekommen bin. Ich nehme mal den normalen Weg. So was gibt. Hi, Bro. Jetzt mal geradeaus. Da hinten waren die Skulls, wo ich gegen den Level 16er kämpfen musste. Das war irgendwie crazy. Ich Schreie gehört. Ist auch ein Level 14er Skal. Ist alleine? Nee. 16. Die sind auch ziemlich stark, muss bei denen aufpassen. Ich habe hier aber ein Kind gehört. Oh. Kann sich teleportieren. So einer ist das also. Das ist zu zweit. Oh, das ist ein Boss. Ich weiß nicht, ob ich ihn besiegen kann. Ich will nicht in seine Richtung ausweichen, Himmel. Hilfe. Das sind immer eigentlich immer dieselben Muster. Das war creepy. Er ist jetzt down. Also das Anvisieren ist schwer. Die Kamera sich nicht so schnell dreht. Vielleicht so die Kameradrehgeschwindigkeit auf jeden Fall erhöhen. Wird mir nicht was. Nö, nicht mal was zum Bluten. Was war denn hier los? Ah, Strickland.
Opium is one of the main ingredients of Strickland's medication. Never a good move.
Ah, hier ist die Abkürzung. Glaube ich. Ja, Gott sei Dank. Diesen Weg immer laufen. Darum muss man sich auch immer kümmern. Kann ich wieder das hier wegmachen? Zack. Jetzt gehen wir einfach mal unten lang, wenn es geht. Hoffe ich. Dass jetzt keine Sackgasse ist. Hier war ich noch nicht. Hier dieses weiße Zeug. Schauen wir zu Desinfektionszwecken. Komm mal vorüber. Da kann man. Okay, dann. Das war ganz gut, der Ausflug. Ich denke mal, die ganze Geschichte mit den beiden habt ihr mitbekommen. Jetzt könnte ich wahrscheinlich mit ihm viel reden, weil ich seine Mutter kenne oder seine...
Hey, Doc. I have found the gift from your wife.
In that case, you'll be properly rewarded, Doc. Clay Cox is a man of his word.
I hope that won't make me an accomplice to your future crimes.
Who knows what I might do now I feel invincible again?
I'll leave you for now, Mr. Cox.
Also es ist doch seine Frau. Aber sie schläft mit einem anderen. Der chillt aber hier ganz gemütlich am Krankenhaus. So, mit wem müssen wir ja reden? Okay, Terrosh, Strickland. Strickland, wo sind Sie?
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
I located the shop, but it was vandalized, and the owner is missing. All I found was your order.
I was afraid of such bad news. People are so desperate they're ready to burgle a shop for drugs.
That's quite a list you ordered. Opium, sodium hypochlorite. It can't be just headaches you're trying to cure.
This dreadful influenza, of course. I already ran some tests on hopeless cases. Without success, I must admit.
Do you realize you could create a lethal poison without the correct dosage? Then there are the legal ramifications.
Is this not true of any medical substance, Dr. Reed? However, if you would agree to improve it, I'd be glad to accept your help.
As long as you promise to be scrupulous with your experiments, I may try to gather these substances and even help improve upon the mixture.
That's all I'm asking for, Dr. Reed. That's all I'm asking.
Er möchte gern was gegen die Grippe machen.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
I want to know about these secret tests you run, and if they can save people from this epidemic. Speak to me now, Thoreau.
I know I may sound presumptuous, but I'm just following your steps, Dr. Reed. I'm casting away the shadows of ignorance by daring to face them.
Self-confidence is essential in our line of work, my young colleague, but only if tempered with the correct amount of cynicism.
But you never doubt yourself, Dr. Reed. I've read all your articles and books. You performed the most daring research during the war.
Don't you think we have enough work already? Perhaps now is not the best time to be chasing shadows.
Chasing shadows, really? It's funny those words coming from the only doctor here who has spent more time outside this hospital than in.
Das ist aber ein gutes Hin. Das war wahrscheinlich keine gute Antwort.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Na, ich habe mich da wahrscheinlich festgefahren bei dem.
I can't let Strickland put his patients at risk with opium. Perhaps an adjusted formula will deliver more of a placebo effect.
Das ist mein Kollege.
I'm
Der mich
quite
nicht
busy
mag.
right now, Dr. Reed.
Do you think Dr. Strickland has any chance of curing the Spanish flu by himself?
His wish to cure the sick is not driven by pride, but by an idealistic view about our mission here. Honestly, I don't know which is worse.
Oh,
You consider him a good practitioner, yet you will not report his methods.
Strickland may be a rival, but I will not use dirty tricks or regulations to prove
ich
him
mag
wrong.
den Typen,
We're
weil der
doctors,
eigentlich
not politicians.
seine Arbeit richtig ernst nimmt und seine Position als Arzt nicht ausnutzt oder so.
Thank you for your time. We'll
Ich
talk
mag den
later.
echt gern, auch wenn er so ein bisschen misstrauisch ist. Das ähnelt mir ein bisschen, glaube ich. Ich grundauf misstrauisch bin. Deswegen mag ich den Typen. Wir wollten ja nach ich brauche ein Mittel gegen.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Ja, wie soll ich...
Strickland's project could be dangerous. I have a mind to report him to Dr. Aykroyd.
Das haben wir doch eigentlich schon geklärt jetzt, oder? Tja. Gehen wir erstmal nochmal an den Table. Crafting Table. Hier kann ich nichts machen. Man braucht immer ein besserer Glock. So, meine meist benutzte Waffe. Ich brauche gegen andere Krankheiten.
I cannot enter.
Schade. Die teilen sich sogar im Büro. Vielleicht kann er Blindenschrift lesen. Oh, da bist du.
Do you need something, Jonathan?
I have just a few questions.
Then ask away. I'm at your service, Doctor.
You mentioned something about a secret society. A brotherhood, if I recall. Could you elaborate?
Certainly. I've been a member of the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole for several years. We are pledged to monitor and report vampire activity in England as impartial scientific observers.
Yet you don't fear me. And still, you know the monster that lurks beneath the civilized surface.
The Brotherhood has studied your kind for centuries. We believe you are as supernatural as a lion is to a gazelle.
That explains your nightly wanderings about the docks and the questions you ask.
I feel it wasn't mere coincidence that led us to that part of town. There was something as yet unseen that set those chain of events in motion.
The man we pursued and slew in the canning factory, William Bishop, I believe, was he a vampire?
He was a Skald, technically speaking. The debate rages as to their classification. Some think them a subspecies of vampire, others something else.
How do Skulls come into existence?
The name means slave. The etymology may indicate that they are a lesser species of vampire. From what I know, vampires tend to despise them.
Just for clarity, what differences are there between myself and a Skull?
A Skull is easier to eliminate, Jonathan, even if they remain formidable foes for the unprepared. Vampires... Now, vampires exist beyond the mortal realm.
Also schön ausgedrückt.
Since I'm the one working for you, what should I know about Pembroke Hospital?
Ich hätte ihn
For many
fragen,
years, we have been the
vielleicht
only
früher.
medical facility in this part of town that people can rely on. We support the community here, as well as provide health care.
What do you expect of me?
What we need is hope. You were a soldier. This is a war. This white coat's still a uniform. We fight to help the poor, the sick of the East End, the forgotten.
Where do we stand today?
But to be honest, we cope on a day-to-day basis. The first wave of the Spanish flu last summer took us by surprise. We lack many of the basic necessities needed.
Since you seem quite the expert on vampires, what could you tell me about my condition and how it came about?
As men of science, our first step is always to start with what we know. Forget the myths, the hackneyed scrawlings, and the penny dreadfuls. They do not scratch the surface of the truth you now find yourself in.
The sun. The morning following my transformation. Its rays burned me. There was pain, smoke, and my skin blackened.
You will find there is very little that can kill a vampire, my friend. You have been offered relative immortality. The sun will most certainly hurt you, leaving you weakened and damaged, but it will not destroy you.
Must I take a life to live?
You are a vampire. You feed, and blood is the sole sustenance that can sustain your immortal frame. And only a living creature contains the nourishment you require.
Also Ratten.
I have met Lady Ashbury.
She's a fascinating woman, wouldn't you agree?
I feel like I've been played. Why did you hide from me her afflicted nature?
Lady Ashbury is a cherished friend of mine. I would not betray her secrets without
Naja, das
her
hat er
consent.
ja schon vorher gesagt.
Come to the rescue of a damsel in distress. I ask nothing more.
The matter of Lady Ashbury's blackmailer.
Oh, I know too much about this matter already. I'm confident in trusting the interests and reputation of both the hospital and Our Lady into your able hands.
We'll see each other again soon, Edgar.
Kannst du zufällig Blindenschrift lesen? Aha, von Rakesh. Versehentlich als Sanitäter eingestellt. Versehentlich, wie passiert sowas? Vampyr wurde nach einem schweren Arbeitsunfall eingeliefert. Wenn man nicht angemessen behandelt, läuft er Gefahr, seinen Arm zu verlieren. Dr. Strickland behauptet, der medizinische Eingriff könne den Arm des Mannes komplett heilen. Ich fürchte, dass diese Komplikationen ihn den Arm kosten können. Also Aykroyd ist der Meinung, dass der Arm nicht geheilt werden kann. Ach, die beiden schon wieder. Unser junger Kollege ist ein kühner, experimentierfreudiger Arzt. Doch müsste ich Sie an frühe Verfehlungen erinnern. Da Dr. Strickland nicht auf mich hört, empfehle ich Ihnen, sein gefährliches Experiment zu unterbinden. Interesting. Das ist etwas, zwei. Das ist echt interessant. Die haben natürlich zwei Charaktere reingesteckt, die einfach so komplett das Gegenteil voneinander sind. In gewisser Weise. Die Türen kann ich eh nicht öffnen.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Sollen wir ihm das jetzt geben? Ich komme gleich wieder.
We'll talk later.
Ich mag den echt. Aber können wir mal da kurz den Rakesh reden. Hallo, Bro.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Erst handeln
Please show
wir.
me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
Das ist die Halskette.
It never ceases to amaze me how you... Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Tell me the truth about your appointment as a medic during the war, Rakesh.
The regiment administration appointed me by mistake. I had to learn the job on the spot, sir. Very hard, sir, but I rose to the challenge.
You can't impersonate a doctor. You can't improvise a medical education. People could die at your hands.
You're absolutely right, sir. But as a field surgeon, it was more like being a butcher.
Do you believe you have really helped these people?
My ratings were within the averages of the regiment. I saved lives, Dr. Reed. Does that not say enough about triage and war surgery?
Ich finde auch, das ist schon richtig.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Genau, warum haben sie die Leichen
Why
geschlossen?
close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir.
Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Are you
Sehr
afraid
relieved, sie ist tot.
or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No, I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you
Nein, ich finde das
Yes,
eigentlich...
but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I'm not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed, I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Ja, netter Typ. So krank? Nee.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Der ist friedlich. Im Gegensatz, die meisten Menschen hier haben irgendwelche Probleme. Einer der wenigen, die keine haben. Ich rede erst mit dem anderen, weil ich dem mehr vertraue.
I know that you're a busy man, but I could use your help and advice.
The great Dr. Reed honors me with a request. What is it exactly?
Dr. Strickland devised an experimental drug for the Spanish flu that he asked me to manufacture.
You know what I think of fringe medical experimentation?
That's exactly why I want you to keep
Ja,
the result.
das dachte ich auch.
I made sure it won't harm anyone, but I'd like you to take care of it.
I see. Put it in my cabinet. I'll give you the key. I'll make sure no one uses this medication by mistake.
I'll do that. Thank you for your help, Dr. Ackroyd.
Thank you for your trust on the matter, Dr. Reed.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly
Das ist so,
And
der
what
ist so
exactly is that
misstrauisch.
supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
Oh mein Gott, ist der hart.
Thank you for your time.
Der mag mich echt nicht. Der mag mich nicht ein Stück. Minus. Nur Minuspunkte bei dem. Habe ich ihm gerade vertraut. Aber ich habe den Schlüssel zu seinem Kabinettchen bekommen. Mr. Gorswicks Patientenakte. Mehrere Wunden in den Rachen, im Mund und in der Zunge, aber keine Anzeichen für die Grippe. Weigert sich zu reden. Benötigt Ruhe und die Schleimhäute im Rachen müssen erst verheilen, bevor sein Schädel entlassen wird. Das weiß ich wenigstens, dass er keine Wunde hat. Der Ackroyd. Gwyneth Brannigan wurde unbestreitbar und unpreußliche Verhaltensgefährdung der Patienten für schuldig befunden. Eine Schwester sollte unter keinen Umständen an Diagnose stellen und Medikamente verordnen, ohne wenigstens den zuständigen Arzt zu informieren. Sie kennen mich, ich habe nichts gegen persönliche Initiative, wenn sie im Interesse aller erfolgt. Aber wir dürfen nicht zulassen, dass eine Schwester eine Diagnose stellt und dann über die Behandlung eines Patienten entscheidet. Das Überleben des besagten Patienten ist kein mildernder Umstand, sondern bedeutet nur, dass wir gerade noch mit davon gekommen sind. Äußerste Strenge. Also ist er doch am Petzen. So viel dazu.
Now that Dr. Ackroyd has been warned, he should make good use of this formula.
Erstens zu dem, der seinen Arm reparieren muss. Mit ihm würde ich auch noch gern reden, weil er so viel über die Leute weiß.
Hello again, Dr. Reed. I feel better already. Can I go soon?
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the Dockers Trade Union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Ja, weil er die Leute beruhigt.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any
Alle.
particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Hat recht.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
Mhm. 'Cause ich habe gerade geguckt, was er für Drogen genommen hat. Und er hat 2 Jahre lang Heroin genommen. 2 Jahre lang. 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 2 Jahre lang.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke. Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
We'll talk again later.
Und den müssen wir uns mal kümmern. Schauen wir mal unser Schäfchen. Hier ist niemand krank außer er. Ich habe aber keine Behandlung gegen Kopfschmerzen. Die schon wieder. Kann ich mit ihr reden?
Someone's poached my blanket.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Das war das.
Tell me, Thoreau, what's the real cause of your dislike for Dr. Ackroyd?
He refuses to admit that your blood transfusion technique is the only way to save Mr. Fiddick. I'm convinced we must use it.
What Dr. Ackroyd really said is that you lack the skill to perform this operation efficiently. Is there anything you have to say about this?
It's a false conceit. Dr. Ackroyd secretly envies your reputation. His jealousy blinds him. I'm not the real target here.
Das war das letzte.
Did you know Dr. Ackroyd never reported your experimental research, despite the fact he doesn't agree with it?
Really? I didn't suspect he knew about my work.
Sie teilen sich ein Büro.
I must confess I am surprised.
Perhaps he thinks you should realize for yourself the danger of what you're doing.
See how condescending he can be? My God, he can be so irritating.
Er ist echt irritating, aber auf eine gute Art.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Richtiger Fanboy.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories at first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him?
Richtig.
Or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. A man
Die
who
hat
did
echt
not
das
even take
Problem.
time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones and flesh.
Strickland ist halt nur jung. Der kann sich nicht hineinversetzen in Dr. Aykroyd. Der versucht halt auch sein Bestes auf seine Art. Schauen wir mal nach ihm und fragen ihn wegen dem Patienten noch.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
I really hope you're right about this, Dr. Aykroyd. I'm trusting your judgment on this.
I'm not the kind of man who runs away from his responsibilities, Dr. Reed. There is no need for you to be looking over my shoulder.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Das macht ihn zum guten Arzt, aber auch sehr ernst. Dann haben wir alles. Und wir reden jetzt mit dem Mann mit dem Arm.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr.
So ein
Fiddick,
Unfall, glaube ich.
unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
I'm sorry.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Ja. Das war abgeschlossen. Aber was ist mit dem Patienten? Da habe ich etwas verkackt.
But in circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Ich werde erst mit dem Sohn
Goodbye,
reden.
Mrs. Goswick.
Kann ich mit dir reden?
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Your medical report says you're not affected by the Spanish flu. What do you think of that, Mortimer?
Does it make me happy? Not in the slightest. If it was up to me, I would have left this place long ago. I know I don't belong here.
And why do you think you don't belong here?
I know the staff have more important things to do than look after me. There's plenty of patients here who need their attention.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful, I'd rather not talk, Doctor.
Irgendwas ist mit ihm. Aber mir fehlen die
I've read
Infos.
your son's medical report, Beatrice. It's not the flu or anything life-threatening. What has you so worried?
He was at death's door when he was brought here. I just want him to be better as soon as possible.
He's not out of the woods yet, you know. He might need to stay here longer than expected.
Take care of him then, Dr. Reed. People here only seem to focus on contagious patients. I worry my poor Mortimer will be neglected.
Fehlen mir total die Hinweise. Ich weiß auch nicht, wer der behandelnde Arzt ist. Wahrscheinlich weder Strickland noch Waverly.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
According to the report I read, your unprofessional conduct put a patient in danger, Gwyneth.
That's not true. I know when my patient's life is at risk, and I'm more competent than a lot of doctors that I know. Problem is, I'm a woman.
I don't see what your gender has to do with your abilities, Nurse.
Yes, nurse. Because I'll never be a doctor, no matter what my skills. I could make a decision that could save a life, but oh no, that's unbecoming conduct.
Have you heard of Elizabeth Blackwell? She was the first woman listed on the UK Medical Register. Change is slow, but it will come. And you will always have my support.
To have the right to study shouldn't be determined by sex, skin, or wealth. That's all I'm saying.
Ich mag sie auch.
Goodbye, nurse.
Ciao.
Call me if you need assistance.
Ich muss immer noch nach Whitechapel. Ich bin ja da nicht weitergekommen. Aber einfach zu viel zu tun. Der örtliche Befehlsstand. Moment. Wo soll der bitte sein? Ist es da? Ja.